In this video, we are going to talk about money in relationships and also how our perception has changed and how we have evolved the way we view money in the relationship. Because we know that money is the number one cause for fights and divorce and breakups in relationships. So it's a very important thing to talk about. When we got together 5 years ago, it started out a little bit different than it is now. On our first date, I would ask Petra to pay for half of the hotel room, and I felt that there was some disappointment in her eyes, because I did invite her. I said, hey, do you want to come? I'll book a hotel for the both of us so we can spend the night in Palma de Mallorca, close to the airport. And she agreed to it. But when she was there, I asked her at the reception to give me 50% of the room rate, and
which was absolutely affordable for him to pay for the whole room. And I also could take my own room back in the days because I worked as well. So it was absolutely fine. So I was a bit surprised about this because it sets the tone for the whole relationship. And I didn't want to enter again this era of 50-50, splitting bills for vacations, splitting bills for flights, splitting bills for every meals and everything meal, and everything, you know. I really didn't like that, because why I didn't like that, I maybe was programmed to have it a little bit different in a relationship, because, for example, my father was the head of the family and he always covered our expenses, and I perceived it as something very masculine, as something very, a man having under control his
he's
resources,
very much the provider for the whole
providing
family.
for the family. And this way I had in my mind written, this is safe, you know. It's nothing about yeah, he has to pay everything for me and I'll just spend it like crazy. No, it was safe, because I knew that my father is good with the resources, for example, and I was searching for it in my partners, and I was searching for somebody for whom I will be so important that he will be willing to pay for me something like a dinner or half of the room, you know.
And I was also subconsciously wanting something like this, but in Switzerland where I grew up, it was always women are equal to men, and it was normal that they pay separately. And my past relationship was like this, 50-50. And I listened to dating gurus and they said the woman should also pay for her meal because you're also giving your time to her. And that was just kind of how I was programmed, but subconsciously I didn't really like the idea. And I'm so grateful that I met Petra, because it allowed me to find that other side in me, that I can also be a provider. And I mean, as a man, if you can provide for your family, it's like you're working as a unity, you know, you're working as a family. When you have 50-50, then it's two separate entities, both living their own lives, and you're just kind of sharing a room together, apartment together. You might also split that in half.
It's nothing wrong about it. We are just going to share what worked for us and what we think it's a little better, because it puts much more trust in a relationship and much more flow in between Raphael and me. And it's not that I want him to pay everything and never work, and or I will pay everything and he will never work and so on, but we're trying to balance it the way that we will just make it harmonized for us. And it's a little tough, and it cost us so many discussions and actually trying to figure it out, because nobody really tells you how it should be.
So we found a way that really resonates with us, and I feel that over the time of our relationship, in the beginning, I started to learn that Petra has a very healthy relationship with money. She really values it. For example, the way she's holding money or counting money, she has the banknotes, they're all facing up. She's counting one bill at a time very gently, and she honors it. She honors each bill, and that's how
my father taught me.
Yeah, that's how she goes through life. And when I give her my credit card, for example, I don't have to be worried that she's just going to splurge and spend on nonsense stuff. she's always very caring and respectful of it.
And he sometimes asks me, "Did you buy something?" And I'm like, "No." And he's like, "You have to buy something, right?"
Yes.
Because I don't usually buy something. Yeah, but
Yeah.
it's okay because it's his credit card and I'm still learning it as well.
And sometimes when we would look at some bigger investment, for example, when we would want to get braces, both of us, she was also saying like, no, so just you have it, it's expensive, and just you do it. And I feel, no, hey, this is our thing, let's do it together. We are one family, we are
let's suffer together with braces.
Yes.
And maybe we're then happy that we do it together because it's another story.
I view it as a unity, a union in this relationship. That there's no me or you for this thing, there's us. And because I would see you, how you would really value and worship money and treat it so caringly, I could also develop the trust in you very much.
We can share a little bit how we got there. And because he was really, I thought the tone will be set 50-50 in a relationship, and I thought, okay, again, it's probably the modern world now. I work, he works, and so on. And I'm not expecting for him to pay for me everything, It can be that once I pay, once he pays, and so on. It's fine, but I was thinking, hey, but is it really a relationship then? And shouldn't we really talk about it more? Because when we are counting on living really, really long life together, so many years, then maybe we can find some partnership in this. So what we did is that we exchanged what we were through, how it worked or not worked, and then we tried to learn on that what we grew up in. And we realized that, for example, his parents now are divorced, but and they have a certain situation also with their spouses. And with my family, it is that my father completely covers my mother's expenses, even though they don't live together. They didn't divorce because it's just official divorcement, but he just decided that he will take care of her all the time because he worships so much what she did for him and what she does for him, and they are still friends. So it's what we could work with. And as well, I was taught my whole life that I have to take care for myself. I have to be independent, which happened. And then I lived independent life with my partner who was independent of me. And we were not cooperating. That's how we are meant to live.
And
as
do you
people.
want to start a family like this when it's 50-50?
It is working. It can work, but then a lady in my country stops working, and the man has to cover the expenses, and
the child support, you mean?
Yeah. Ladies live like this in my country, and
it's very common.
They struggle, but we had it a bit differently. So.
And you mentioned my parents, they both have a partner, and they are both relationships, they're absolutely 50-50. Yes, my father, sometimes he invites his spouse to a meal, and sometimes she invites him, but overall it's still 50-50.
So also vacation, sometimes he pays. Yeah.
But overall it's 50-50. She even pays him rent in the apartment that he's living in. So that's what I knew, but I subconsciously really felt that I want to have something different.
Because I think that men are, I also had to learn it. I was also this bossy girl, bossy woman, which wanted to be always right and which wanted to be always like taking care of me. I don't need you. I can make my own money and so on. And then I had health problems, and then I met Raphael, and because we talked about it and we realized the dynamics, and we took some courses, and we realized that the dynamics between men and women are necessary to keep in polarities. Because the more he is going to be manly, the more I can be feminine, and the more we will nourish each other. And
complement each other.
And also I had to accept that I am a woman. You know, I was thinking that I am woman which can do it all. And the body said no. And a lot of women who work so much and who study and who want to be perfect, and perfect hair, makeup, and you know, good clothes, and is preferably high heels, because everything has to be super cool, and then you have to carry yourself on these things, and you have a period and you don't even think about it because you have to perform somewhere.
You compete with other men, and
not,
you have to
not even
prove
compete
yourself.
Because you want just prove yourself. You don't even have to compete because they are already the winners, and you have to work 3 times as hard. So you at least have a little spot somewhere. That's what I experienced. I never even thought I could compete with a man. And I think it's very important that men worship women and women worship men. And especially when I saw it on Raphael, and when we talked about his past with bossy ladies, I was like, I wasn't even like that bossy lady at work, but I was like that in a relationship, because I tried to carry this energy that I can take care of myself. And yes, I can. Everybody can. We can all do it, girls. But we also have to let go and let the man provide for us, because then we take away his...
It's my innate nature. Like, I have never done this before. I have never even given a proper gift to a woman, but once I started to have the opportunity to provide, I felt so much more in my masculine energy, and it was something that came naturally to me. I didn't have to try to do it. It just kind of comes. But, you know, I have been growing up around very masculine women, and it is, I have to almost unlearn these things, these habits and these beliefs which I had in life. And I was very low as a man. I wasn't very valuable person. It was always like serving to the women and following their orders. That was how I grew up. So it was a little bit scary.
And also
to become this
not
provider
trusting
role.
to women, right? You didn't then trust to women. You were scared of them. You were scared to enter a relationship because you could be, but very big probability it would be that you would be bossed around, right? Yeah.
And that's what I was attracting previously before I met Petra. And I was almost a little bit scared to be provider. Like, can I even do this? Am I even manly enough? And still those insecurities about masculinity and, oh, I have to man up. The reason why we have to make this video now is because over the last decades, the movement went more and more towards feminism. And how many movies do we know where women have to prove themselves in the workforce, and Wonder Woman, etc., the strong, independent woman. This is just what we have been moving towards, and we kind of have to now find ourselves again. Men have to find their masculinity, women have to find their femininity. It should come natural, but because we have been conditioned so much, we have to now remind us where we are actually coming from. And it's not hard as a man to be a provider once you tap into your energy. And it's always there, it always has been.
You have to have just space for it. You have to have a room for it.
Yes, also from the woman, I also need Petra to have a level of femininity in her that I can also see this quality in me, because women can be very strong and
I can be strong,
fierce and bossy, and can totally bury the man underneath it. And it's hard for a man to get out of that and to find his power.
Because as you see in the magazines, they are starting to sell men on the cover of women's magazines, and they look even more amazing than women, and they have nails done and eyebrows done, and they wear makeup, and they care about clothes more, you know, they smell better than women. And where do we have our roles, and where women are here to beautify world. That's what I was. That's what I read. You know, I'm trying to now do it and sometimes think about it, and I'm learning as well. But yeah.
There, I would like to make an example for when we went to Cyprus and I booked a really cheap hotel, a really bad, shitty hotel, and Petra was there with me. She would turn that room into something really beautiful, just with a few touches here and there and with her energy, and it felt like a completely different room.
Women are always observing their partner, and it's very important to see that the man can handle resources. It doesn't matter if it is $1,000, $10,000, or maybe in the future when we will be billionaires or millionaires, then we could have that. But you know, but it's the thinking. Hey, I can afford this. I can do this. I am tracking. He's tracking everything what we spend. We have a track record of everything we spend. He has an application in his phone, and I found it so cute and so devoted, and you know, it was super nice. So I know exactly what I spent 4 years ago for. I have a special setup about money right now in this moment, which works for me so much, and it calms me down. Even though we were nervous now how we make money, how we are going to live, and where we are going to live, and we still don't have it figured out. If we split, I said to Raphael, you can take everything, because if you even stole money from me because of whatever, I will manifest it 10 times more, you know? It was just like a saying. And he's like, he probably thought he likes it. And he said, no, I will manifest it 10 times more, you know? So we are just like that together. And we know that the law of the universe work, and we would never steal anything from anyone which is not ours, and we would maybe even argue it. Take it. You know?
Yeah.
So I can start all over again, because sometimes it's good to let go stuff.
Yeah. And you also trusted me with a lot of your money that I would invest it for you. Like overall, you're just so clear about it from the get-go, that when we make money with our business, that I will be managing it and you're okay with it. You don't have to have control over it. You trust me.
But it proved through the years. It is not an immediate thing. It proves through the years. We used to be 50-50. Just don't share your money with anybody. Take care of yourself. Be yourself responsible, and so on. If you enter a relationship, watch your money, because the partner can steal it. That was a big
fear.
Your big fear, right? Because you were taught to watch out for your money. And now we have it the way that we transformed it and changed it, but it didn't take overnight. It takes very long time, very many proofs. Yes, we can do this.
That you can develop the trust in your partner, that they worship the money and take care for it as well. And we're at the point, like, I'm very interested in money, always have been. I invest money, I track my money, and that Petra said, hey, you know, you take care of that, I fully trust you.
But you were taking care of your money for 1.5 years, and I watched you, and then I said that I trust you with that, you know. I didn't say it immediately in a sometime.
Yeah, you can't judge that in 2-3 weeks.
No.
It takes some time.
For me, it was like 1.5 years, and then it was still, I was observing and so on for 2 more years maybe, and now we are fully set in this mode, and it's not finite, it's still changing, right?
Yeah, and for me also, it took like about this time that I could see, hey, she also really values money and she cares for it.
It's not only valuing money, it's also valuing your partner's or your own energy. It's, you know, he had to do something to get that, and you had to do something to get your money, and this way you are honoring it and not even think about it in a negative, low energy way.
Mm-hmm.
And money knows it, and money hears it.
Yeah, and everybody can improve the relationship with money.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
And also, if you talk about it more in your relationship, how you have it, how you grew up, and how you think you could have it, then your relationship could be much more open and
Mm-hmm.
much more connected. In a past relationship, I didn't talk about money at all, you know, and that person, my ex-partner, was only saying, I'm always bad with money.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I'm always bad with money, and
it's done for him.
And it's done for him, and I was good with my money, and he was bad with his money. This way, I had to pay half of vacations and everything, and that was it. It's always good in a relationship to talk about why are you bad with money, why do you think it's like this, and what can we do to improve it.
Mm-hmm.
And it's always amazing if people are open to do this, open for the conversations, because then what is more than trust in a relationship? It's not a person who is supposed to be secluded from you. It's a person who you are spending your life with, and it's your energy and it's your life. Don't you want to have it a little bit more open? Don't you want to have it a little bit more like comfortable, that you can trust to somebody? If you trust too much and somebody tricks you, then don't trust somebody immediately in a year. You know, wait for this.
And don't be ashamed for sharing how you have it with money. You know, you can say, hey, I have actually not had a really good relationship with money and trying to work on it, but I kind of can't really save it. Just be honest about it, and also sincere that you want to change it, that you want to do something about it, and don't feel ashamed for it, because we all have had our own programs, and somebody grew up in a family where they had lack, and somebody grew up in a family where they had always enough. And this will shape you. You will have it different. Everybody has it different, and just honor your process. You'll have to go through this.
Mm-hmm.
Somebody has to deal more with relationships in their life, and somebody has to deal more with money. It's for everybody a little bit different because of the circumstances.
Mm-hmm.
There's no shame in that.
And I also, for example, I liked to buy a lot of supplements in the past, and it was quite a lot of money. And even though it was like my money, he was managing our money, and I saw on Raphael that he's not happy that I'm spending that much for it, you know?
Mm-hmm.
It was the face.
Mm-hmm.
And we shopped too much in a grocery store. We went too wild or something, and it was like a really big amount of money. And I saw it, and we felt both very guilty for it, or I felt very guilty that I'm buying these supplements.
And I felt guilty that I make her feel like that.
Yeah.
You know, that I make her feel maybe insecure about buying it.
Mm-hmm. So we had to sit, and it was like so many months or years even after we figured it out between each other that I lowered my purchasing of the activity of purchasing the supplements, and he told me that what he thinks and so on. But when I purchased a lot of supplements, for example, before COVID, and then COVID started, he was happy I have at home those supplements, because it was like you find it, you know, you have it at home, you're ready, somebody doesn't feel good, you just take a lot of vitamin C or whatever you need, and you are quicker, better. It's also thought through, and he started to also accept that I am knowing what I'm doing when I'm buying something. And it's like a mutual trust that he knows that I always take care of our supplements, and I will make sure that we use it and we have it when we need it, and so on.
Yes, exactly. You always actually use the things which you buy. Yeah.
I am trying to be very minimalistic, but anyways, in supplements I go sometimes wild. We have to go wild somewhere.
We all have it different, right? So thank you very much for being here with us. We hope this inspired you a little bit, and we will definitely talk again about money, because we like it.
Because it makes you more relaxed, and if you're relaxed, your body is relaxed, and then you become better buddy with your body.
Exactly.
Exactly.
See you next time.